Have you ever noticed you can just have the most amazing meditation experience and then you get off the cushion and life is still kind of not working, right? And nobody else notices that you had these amazing meditation experiences, they just still find you, for example, irritating, right? Capel often emphasized that an awakened state is not enough, that we also need to be growing up as integrated human beings. So you can be awakened and sit on your cushion and emanate loving kindness, and that definitely helps. But being able to skillfully take a resilient loving kindness and compassion out into the world in all different kinds of situations is far more helpful. Namgyal Rinpoche once said there's no difference between the spiritual and the material. Integral is an optimal tool to help us to understand that our spiritual lives and the material world, with all of its crapola, are not separate. They're the same thing. And how do we weave them together? So let's talk about integral evolution, shall we? And by evolution, I mean progressive development or unfoldment. We'll start by looking at the quadrants, which is a really important part of the integral system, which is kind of different types of maps to make one big map. So this is the human quadrants, and these are the different areas of life where our evolution is happening, okay? The upper left quadrant is about the I, about the self, and consciousness. So waking up, meditation, my experience, all the amazing things that happen on the meditation cushion are the upper left. Now see the little also altered states? Ha ha ha! That's where some of us live a lot of the time, right? Because I'm considering meditation an altered state. We're meditators, we're spiritual people. Generally speaking, this is our favorite quadrant. Other people orient from the lower left or the lower right or the upper right. And so that's going to make for a really different experience, really different perspective. And knowing that helps us get along, be able to have better conversations, support one another, learn more. So upper left is the individual experience, the self, the consciousness. Everything on the left is interior, personal. Everything on the right is exterior. Everything on the upper half is singular, and everything on the bottom half is plural. And if your brain is going, what did she just say? Don't worry about it. It all makes sense pretty soon. Lower left is the cultural social quadrant. Okay, our worldview. It could be your community, it could be your family, it could be your sangha, any kind of community, to society, to the planet. This is the we of our experience, how we relate to each other, how we communicate, how we interact. So let's go to the upper right. This is the it quadrant, the purely physical. So this is where science happens. This is where shit gets done. So upper right is like Darwin stuff. These are facts. Okay, lower right is the social organizational quadrant. So it's the plural it. So now we're social systems, environment, government, any kind of organization, businesses, right? Systems thinkers love this quadrant. Anything that we humans care about or engaged in, we can map in these quadrants. So this is the simple version, the I, the it, the we, the it's. And Wilbur argued that another way to put this is all the pursuit of beauty, truth, and goodness. I really like that. Isn't that basically all that we're trying to do, is bring more beauty, truth, and goodness in the world? The I is about the self, which is about art, right? Expression, which is about the beautiful. We is about morals and ethics, which is about culture, which is about the good, right? We want to be good to one another. That's a fundamental human, that's Buddha nature. Everyone has that somewhere. And then the it and its, that's science, that's nature, that's truth, right? How do things actually work? This study can help us know how to do that better, know how to do it together, so that we can support one another to do that, because then the beauty, truth, and goodness will be amplified. And when we're not doing it together, sometimes we can really get in one another's way. Have you ever worked on something and really been puzzled and hurt? Like, why are people making it more difficult for me to do this really amazing thing that I'm trying to do for everyone? That's partly because we're all coming from different perspectives, different quadrants, maybe different lines, different stages, right? So the better we understand the map, the better we can incorporate that in our processes and have it be working with us. Yay. Okay. So this is a hazard. This is a meditator's hazard, right? Which is that we hang out in the upper left-hand quadrant and kind of ignore the other three, or figure that the other three are supposed to pay homage to our upper left. Capel used to say, fall down and worship at the shrine of our holy meditation experiences. And the sooner we can recognize that, the less we'll suffer. The other three quadrants are profoundly shaping our upper left-hand experience. Okay, so as a white cisgendered woman from Kansas City who lived in Japan, now lives in Canada, blah, 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 it's going to really affect my meditation experiences, right? Compared to somebody who's got some Maori background from New Zealand, for example. So our upper left-hand experience is going to be far different, but we don't talk about that very much as meditators. In the integral world, they call this intersubjectivity, that all the quadrants are interrelating and subject to one another. We can sit on our meditation cushion all we want, and we cannot perceive that what unfolds there is informed by the other three quadrants, right? That doesn't happen on the cushion. And with meditation and with spiritual philosophies, they're not really addressing that our notion of truth, our notion of consciousness, beauty, truth, and goodness are constructed by the interaction of all four quadrants. All of the upper left-hand quadrant pursuits, which is meditation, for example, introspection, when I'm reflecting, contemplation, can get stuck in these kinds of eddies that the upper left quadrant is not equipped to untangle. The lower quadrants are about the collective, right? So we can still be introverts, we can still love to meditate, and we can learn how to do that together, right? And Clear Sky has been an incredible gift that way, and also extremely challenging. So if you're in a Sangha and you're like, this is so hard, we must be doing it wrong. No, you're not doing it wrong. It is really hard. Going from one stage to another is really difficult. So if something seems challenging, if it's painful, if there's problems, that might be a good sign. It might mean you're moving to a higher stage, to the next stage. If you keep going, if you're like, no, it's hard, I'm not into this, then you're gonna stay where you are.